Alright, so it's officially the new month, which means we need to talk about all the new games that are coming out. Starting the month off pretty strong, we have Starfield coming out on September the 6th. However, if you pre-ordered, you should be able to go ahead and get in there today. Now, I wasn't very sure about playing this game until I saw the direct they had, and the more I watched about it, the more intriguing it started to seem. Now, Starfield is a massive game. We're talking about a solar system of over 1,000 different planets, each with their own various biomes. It has a unique experience where the planets will be procedurally generated for the ones that are not a part of the story. There's also going to be various civilizations per planet, so you're going to have unique encounters with different civilizations everywhere you go, as well as the gravity will be different per planet. So on one planet, you may have a higher sense of gravity, so when you're jumping around shooting weapons, it's not going to have much of an impact on you. However, another planet that has lighter gravity, well, you shoot a weapon and it may push you backwards, you may jump higher. It just depends on which planet you're on and what the biome is for that planet. Now, the companion system in this game is going to be a little bit different than the prior games. Companions all have unique skills about them. Now, one of the differences in this game from their prior games that I know of is that the companions, you'll be able to romance them. So for those of you who are interested in that aspect, you will be able to do that.
I can't believe I get to stand near you, breathing the same air. I've got to have every molecule.
Next, this game has a very robust base building system where this time you're going to be able to build your base from an over-the-top view. Looking down, and the parts will be able to snap together. This should make it a lot easier when you're trying to construct a base to be exactly how you want it to be, as opposed to being on the ground and trying to figure things out. Now that you're going to be above it, you'll be able to easily see how things work together and how it all looks in the end. Then there's the spaceship customization, where all of the parts of the ship will be their own separate components, and you'll be able to customize these components together to make your ship look and function however it is that you see fit. One of the things that they showed off was they turned their ship into a mech, so if that's something you're interested in, well, then go for it, as the ships are all very modular and let you express your creativity however you see fit. The last thing I want to talk about is how big this game is, and I'm not talking about the universe itself, I'm talking about the file size. This game comes in at a whopping 125 gigs, so you're going to need some space if you want to play this one. See what I did there? Space. Releasing on September 13th, we have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, The Hidden Treasures of Area Zero, Part 1, The Teal Mask. This game is going to take you on a field trip to Kitakami, where you're going to meet two siblings who attend the Blueberry Academy. You're also going to learn of a folktale passed down from generation to generation about three Pokemon who saved Kitakami from an evil ogre. Now, this is going to be Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's first expansion, so I would expect good things from it based off what we've seen before in the past. You know, if you're a big Pokemon fan, I don't think that you're going to be let down by this one, as well as the part 2 that's going to be coming to this later in the winter. I think that this is going to be a pretty good game, and I'm probably going to give it a shot myself. I've been playing Pokemon ever since Pokemon Sword and Shield. That was my first experience with it, and I've been enjoying it ever since. Now, I know when this game originally came out, there was a lot of bugs, and it came off the heels of Pokemon Arceus, which was a really good game in my opinion. However, this one was still good in its own ways, and I think that this DLC is going to offer a lot to it, and if you're a Pokemon fan, you're probably going to be interested in checking this out. So there you have it. I don't have much else to say about this one. Releasing on September 14th is the Crew Motorfest. Now, this game is going to be launching with over 600 vehicles in it, and it's going to be an arcade racing type game. Now, there are going to be certain elements that you could say are somewhat from the sim side of things. As far as the physics go, they have tried to implement a few things like the car sliding and things like that if you're going too hard on corners, but they do want to maintain towards the arcade aspect, and it's going to take place in the beautiful aesthetics of Hawaii. And for those of you who are interested in an arcade game, this might be something you want to keep your eyes on. I myself am going to be passing on this one personally, but that's just because I'm not a big racing fan. I haven't really played racing games in a long time. I think the last one I played was Need for Speed Underground. For those of you who are looking for a new racing game that has an arcade flair to it, this might be one that you're going to want to check out. September 19th is going to be a big day as we've got 3 launches to cover on this one, and we're going to start things off with the Lies of P. This game takes a dark spin on the Pinocchio fable, which you play as a puppet created by Geppetto. It takes place in the Belle Epoque era, and the aesthetics to this game are absolutely astonishing. This is going to be a Souls-like game, so for any of you who are used to that style of combat, you should know exactly what to expect going into this. Now, the blocking mechanics in this game work where if you do a perfect block, you have the chance to break the enemy's weapon, and it also negates the damage you take. Now, while guarding, if you get hit, well, P's stamina is reduced, and the damage that he takes is converted into a guard regain, which restores his health. And then you've got your Legion arm, which your Legion arm has various abilities that can be activated by consuming the Legion gauge. One of the things you can do is if you're fighting a boss and you find it incredibly challenging, well, you can summon a Spectre to help assist you with this, which they talked about is to make it a little bit easier for if you're having a hard time. This way you can get through that boss and get to experience the rest of the game. Weapons in this game can be disassembled and reformed into new weapons with 100 different combinations. It's really about testing everything out to find out what works best and then implementing that to your advantage. One thing that you need to pay attention to in this game is your weapons have a durability limit to them, so you need to make sure that you're constantly sharpening your blades, and you can adjust the durability on the fly, so you don't have to go somewhere to fix this. You just need to make sure that you're monitoring it so that you can keep your damage up. Now, in the story of this game, you can either lie or tell the truth, and depending on the choices that you make will overall impact the ending of this game. So there are multiple endings, and you'll find out which ending you'll get based off the decisions that you make. Also on September 19th is going to be Mortal Kombat 1. This is going to be a complete reboot to the franchise. I think it's like the second one they've done, and it's going to feature several of the classic heroes that you already know, just in a new storytelling. Some of the characters being Liu Kang, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, so on and so forth, all the ones that you've grown accustomed to. It's said that there's going to be 24 fighters, however the number hasn't been officially confirmed. That's just the number that I was able to pull up, and we'll have to see in the future if that number is going to hold or if it's going to be something different. There's also going to be a new fighting system this time around called Cameo Fighting. This is basically a system that allows you to team up with classic characters that aren't a part of the main roster. Finally, on the 19th, the First Descendant is having its open beta. This is going to be a third-person looter shooter, somewhat akin to Warframe. So if you are looking for something new to play and you're a Destiny player or a Warframe player, this one's going to be right up your alley. It's got a rune system in the game, which is where you're going to do all your fine-tuning, such as making adjustments to your weapons DPS or making adjustments to your character and how he performs. The in-game content is going to have these giant void bosses where during the fights, you're going to be able to use a grappling hook to grapple onto them, rip off their armor, and bring them down for a damage phase. It's also got survival and defensive missions. There's a lot to do in this game and a lot to farm. Yeah, so if you are a fan of looter shooters and you're looking to try something new, this is definitely a game to keep your eye on. Recently, they dropped a trailer at Gamescom, and it was absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to this game, and hopefully you guys are as well. Coming to early access September 20th is Witchfire. This is going to be a roguelite shooter game. Your job is to hunt down a powerful witch who's holding the key to your salvation. You play as the witch hunter using your guns and spells to vanquish your enemies. One of the cool features of this game is the gun attunements. Witch hunters are granted special perks with guns. They showed off a handgun where the more crits hit before a reload, the more powerful bullets you'll have after that reload. Then it had a second attunement that increased the damage of the bullets based off the number of crits you scored before the reload. The final attunement that it had made it where your first body shot still counted as a critical hit, and if all shots were critical hits upon reloading, you'll be granted a freezing effect. I personally think that the gunplay in this game is going to be very fun and unique because it's rewarding for you being accurate. There's not a lot of games that actually do that, where just because you accurately hit your shots and all of them were crits doesn't mean that you're going to get any bonus for it, while this game rewards that type of behavior. Then there's the spells in this game where you have light spells and heavy spells. Light spells are quick and easy to execute and minimal stamina cost is required, while heavy spells are slow to execute and require large quantities of stamina. Spells are based off 4 core elements. You have water, earth, fire, and air. Each of the elements has its own unique properties, such as if you're using the fire element, once you cast fire on an enemy, that enemy will take double damage. Spells can also be spread amongst other enemies, and the properties can be combined, such as if you light an enemy on fire and then you cast lightning. So the fire is on one enemy, but the lightning is chaining. And when the lightning is chaining, the lightning that chains to the other target deals more damage now to that other target because the initial enemy that you cast it on is taking more damage because he's on fire. So I find this game to be pretty intriguing, and it's definitely on my radar to look at later this month. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to have time to play this one, as my library is looking pretty full, but I'm definitely interested in giving it a shot. Releasing September 21st is going to be Payday 3. Get ready to plan heists and execute them all over again. The original cast is returned with an addition of 2 this time around. You can play this game solo or play with friends online. They currently planned out over 18 months of post-launch campaign, so there should be no lack of content for you. This game is going to be similar to the previous Payday installments, just with improved gameplay, and is meant to be a more serious tone early on. Also, there's been no signs of monetization this time around, so if you're looking to get back into the world of Payday, this one might be a fun one to check out. Releasing on September 26, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, as well as the 1.7 patch. So based off all the changes that they've made to this game, it's basically going to be a whole new game. The story this time around involves the president crashing in Dogtown, which is located in Pacifica, which is that lawless area if you remember from the last time you played. You're going to team up with Solomon Reed this time around, who is played by Idris Elba, and Keanu Reeves will be back reprising his role as Johnny Silverhand. The expansion has been dubbed as a futuristic spy thriller, so this could be interesting. It's got a little bit of a different twist to it this time around. They've also added vehicular combat to the game. This is going to be a nice little feature they're adding, as it's going to allow you the ability to shoot while driving. Also, you're going to be able to target the weak points of vehicles. The police system has also had a complete rework. This time around, there's going to be a full wanted system, so it's going to be somewhat what you're used to with Grand Theft Auto games. And committing crimes will cause the police to investigate. The more crimes you commit, the more aggressive the police are going to become, eventually sending out max tac. The cyberware skill tree and attribute system has also received a complete overhaul. There's been new perks and active abilities that have been added. Armor and stats are now directly tied to cyberware and not your clothing. There's also been a whole new tree added called Relic. This one's going to add a twist to your current cyberware, and you can unlock it with relic points that can be found while you're exploring Dogtown. Now, one of the last things I want to mention here is that whether you're a returning player or you're a new player, when you create a character, you can go straight into Phantom Liberty, so you don't have to start at the original starting point of the story. This is going to be useful for if you've got like old characters, but you don't want to use those because the trees don't line up with where you want to go next. You can just create a new character and go straight into that zone and start working that character in the direction that you prefer. Now, the last game on this list doesn't have an official release date this month, even though it is slated for this month, and that's going to be Robocop. Now, I don't know much about this game. I haven't really been following it that much. However, you know, it is releasing this month, and I just wanted to make sure it was on the list for any of you who are interested in playing this game. Maybe you want to be Robocop and go around and experience what that's like. So there is a game, and it'll be out at some point, maybe. I don't know, we'll just have to keep our eyes out for it and see what they say. That's gonna wrap it up for this list, and hopefully you enjoyed it and you can find something on here that you're looking forward to, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.